Your name again, ma'am? Go ahead. Yes.
My name is Lin Law. I'm representing myself and the Asian Americans Leadership Council to oppose SB147. I'm against this bill because it's unconstitutional based on racial background. It grants legislators the power to classify any immigrant group as a security threat in the future. SB147 is discriminatory against the AAPI communities who are already under Asian hate attacks. It repeats the dark American history, such as the 1875 Page Act prohibiting Chinese women from entering this country, the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, the 1924 Asian Exclusion Act, and the 1942 Japanese internment ban. Those laws exemplify the racist history against ordinary people legally living in America that has nothing to do with their country of origin. Texas has been the land of diversity and inclusion, attracting many high-tech businesses relocating to Austin or Dallas. According to the Global AI Talent Tracker report, 56% of China's top-tier researchers study, work, and living in the United States. If this bill passes, it will hurt the Texas economy by losing high-tech talents and foreign investors with non-citizenship visa status because it signaled that Texas is the land of racism. Many holding F1, H1, and L1 visas are on a long journey to get a green card and an even longer way to become U.S. citizens. They pay taxes and raise families in Texas. Banning them from owning properties will make them move away, and the high-tech companies lose employees, leading to company relocation. According to USDA data, foreign-owned land, only 31%, 40 million agricultural land, only 1.8% of all land, of all foreign-owned. 3% of all foreign-owned in Texas, and Chinese is 8% of this 3%, equals to 0.0024%. So I have been convincing the business partner for years to start building a factory in Texas that could create high-tech job opportunities for up to 100 employees. Due to this bill, he changed his mind and gave up the land. Therefore, I ask the committee members to vote no on SB 147. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're right. So, ma'am, you'll start first. Please introduce yourself and give us your testimony. You have 2 minutes. Make sure your microphone is on so we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, committee chair and committee members. I am Alice Yi, representing 2 organizations, Asian Texans for Justice, Asian American Leadership Council, as well as myself, to oppose SB 147 and SB 711. AAPI is the fastest growing racial group in Texas. 1.9 million Asian Texans make up the 3rd largest population in the nation. This bill is framed as a national security measure. I heard a lot of security measure sentence, but I would like to ask all committee members here how it compares to the fact that the Texas DPS sent at least 3,000 driver's licenses to an organization crime group targeting Asian Texans. This is a real security threat compared to Chinese people buying a home. This is a real threat directly coming from our own Texas government. If this bill comes as a law, become a law, it will put all people who looks like me, any Asians, into a 3rd-class citizenship, because we will have to prove our current immigration status and where we come from when we want to purchase any land or house. My son and my grandson in the future will need to prove they were born in Texas before they can make an offer. United States is a #1 democracy and freedom country in the world. But why senators want to compare the other 4 countries, how they do business with? Are we competing with the dictatorship regime, or do you want to push us back to 1800s? Therefore, I'm opposed to this against this bill, these two bills. I hope you do so too. Thank you all.
And thank you, Ms. Yee. And welcome. If you'll introduce and give us your name and give us your testimony.
My name is Wei Li, Honorable Chairman, Honorable Committee members. You guys have the awesome stamina, especially Chairman. You have 5 hours now. You haven't used the restroom yet. So thank you very much for your service. I came to the U.S. in 2006 on a student visa. After completing my doctoral and postdoctoral training, I moved to Texas in 2012. And I have been working as a professor since then. On March 22nd, 2023, that's 3 weeks from today, I will be finally eligible to apply for U.S. citizens. That will be 17 years after I moved to the U.S. Long journey, but deep down I know I'm already a Texan, long while ago. I can cook perfect, moist brisket. I even understand how to use Bless Your Heart properly. But SB147 and SB711 are a slap on my face. It scoffs at me. Sorry, you're not Texan. People like you will not even deserve to own a home. I'm raising 4 young Texans proudly. SB147 and SB711 also a slap on my children's faces. They're proud to be American because they believe in America. No one can treat you differently because of the color of your skin or because of where you were born. In every morning assembly, very loudly and proudly they say, with liberty and justice for all. But with these 2 bills, it becomes with liberty and justice not for all, except for people like my mom and dad. It's not American way of doing business. It's definitely not Texan. This bill will hurt Texas like opening up Pandora's box. It will discourage many, many immigrants to come to the U.S., and that is a huge loss for Texas. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
And give us your testimony, please. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bing Yu. I'm representing Asian Chamber of Commerce, Houston. We're the probably largest Asian chamber in Texas and definitely fast growing across the nation. We have 800 members and 30% of them are Chinese American business owners. So I came here to share my personal story. I went to A&M, proud to be Aggie 28 years ago. My wife went to Tennessee. So when we were in campus, we were hosted and welcomed, so welcomed by we call American family. And they invited us to their family event, holiday party, go to church, and that's how we introduced to Jesus Christ and become Christian. That is how we know American value and American culture. Had this bill become a law 28 years ago, I wouldn't be here to testimony. So what's wrong with this bill? What has been changed? The change is us as American. We are now showing the love instead of breathing the people like me 28 years ago. Now we're pushing people away. This bill needs to be changed, and there are so many holes. What simple suggestion I will ask is remove the country and ethnicity's name, and then that's where I hope that you can make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. Would you please state your name and give us your testimony? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is CJ Zhao. And how are you guys doing? Tired? Good? Well, I don't feel so good being here in my state Senate chamber for the first time. I don't own Texas Independence Day, by the way. I don't feel good. I feel tired because we feel we are under attack by our own state representatives, people who we support through taxes we pay, just because what we look like or what our last name is. I don't feel good being here. My name again is C.J. Zhao. I'm president of APAPA, Austin chapter. APAPA stands for Asian Pacific Island American Public Affairs. We are a nationwide grassroots organization with over 50 chapters all over the United States. But I'm here representing myself as a long-term Texas voters to urge you to kill SB147 and SB711. Singling out people based on country origin is as un-American as it could be, and SB147 does just that. I've been in this country 3 decades, spending way longer time here in my so-called country of origin. Now I have to walk around waving my American passport or something? Seriously, we're not here to defend our country of origin. We're here to ask not to be put as collateral damage by our own representatives. You guys are our representatives. You read all the headline news about rapid increase of Asian hate crimes. Now you're going to add salt to the wound to our community under attack, and a community that contributes so much to this great state and this great nation. Do you know how much tax we pay every year and how many patents we file every year? Your vote for this bill will be a vote against our whole community. And when the time comes for your re-election, we will remember this. You will be surprised to realize we suddenly become single-issue voters. We will be there, vote for your opponent, and campaign against you. In every way we know how. We knock doors, we put out ads by the roadside, in the newspaper, we will be phone banking, we will be writing postcards. Any way we can, we will be the single-issue voters. So please, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, please vote what truly America truly stands for and kill SB147 and 711. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your testimony.
Say your name and begin. Yes.
My name is Zingan Chen. I'm a resident in Flormont, Texas. I'm speaking on my behalf and for my kids. And I'm opposing to SB147. 25 years ago, I came to the United States to study on F1 visa. We moved to Texas in 2006. We only became permanent residents in 2017. We are proud to call Texas our home ever since we moved here. As a foreigner in the United States, I have always felt safe and valued the core American values. However, in January when Governor Abbott openly endorsed SB147, that shattered all the peace of mind. While I understand the intention behind this bill, it should apply to all foreigners. This bill unfairly targets all Chinese citizens living and working peacefully in Texas as agents of Chinese government and a threat to national security. This is racist and discriminatory based on pure speculation. Sooner or later, in the same logic, restrictions will be applied to green card holders, like I am, and the Chinese American citizens. It's just one bill away. Bills like this are causing anxiety and fear within the Chinese and Asian community. The core American values of equality and non-discrimination for all are being called into question. The passage of this bill will give an official license to hate and discriminate against Asian people, as you cannot tell a person whether from China or other countries or born in the U.S. Also, you cannot tell whether it's on a visa or green card or a U.S. citizen. This will result in hate crimes against the entire Asian community.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Sorry, please let me finish.
Sir,
I have a family in China and
Sir.
the U.S. I hope
in
that both nations.
fairness to all the people here, which are 100+ people,
May I ask why the former people can speak more than 2 minutes while we only limit to 2 minutes? It's unfair. I would say that Senator Lewis invited the proponents and given them more time to speak their reason. It's unfair. Please, I'm sorry, Chairman, but I have to let me finish this sentence.
certainly.
Okay.
Finish your sentence.
I have family in China and the United States. I hope both nations can prosper and get along well. Peace and harmony will attract people, talents, and capital all over the world, and will always bring prosperity for all. I urge you, as esteemed senators, to uphold the core American values and vote no to SB147, and to restore the hope, confidence in the Asian community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome. Introduce yourself and give us your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of this committee. My name is Hugh Lee. I'm a proud U.S. citizen and the president of Austin Chinese American Network, a local nonprofit focused on serving communities and fostering our heritage with more than 1,000 members. I'm here today representing both myself and my organization, and we oppose SB147. Many community members before me have already offered their arguments against this bill, that it's offensive because it discriminates against individuals of a certain national origin, and it paints a target on the back of these people, tax-paying, family-loving, and hard-working people, who in every other way are just like you and me, except they are not a citizen of this great nation just yet. But it's okay to treat them differently, okay to dash their American dream. I agree with their arguments. It's not fair and it's not right. And to add salt to the wound, this bill deals with property rights, the very rights to own your home, your business, and to invest in your own community, to build a livelihood for your family, the very essence of American dream. As Senator Forrest said in his office the other day, private property rights is a big deal in Texas. Government should meddle with it as little as possible, and I agree with him. Now, I fully understand the national security concerns that this bill aims to address, and I cannot condone the authoritarian regimes named in this bill. But remember this, there are millions of Russian scientists, Chinese engineers, Iranian doctors who escaped these very regimes to come to this country, to this great state, to seek freedom, prosperity, and happiness. Just like your ancestors generations ago, from Nazi Germany, fascist Italy, Stalin's Russia, and other horrible regimes. So what is your right to discriminate against them across the board in the name of collective security? When the government is allowed to take away personal freedom and rights in the name of collective security, that is not very far from communism. Senator Forrest reminded us the other day what Ben Franklin once said, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase little temporary safety deserve neither, and I agree with both of them. So I urge you to vote down this bill. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. I want to be clear, if you read her testimony, that will be your 2 minutes, so you can use it to read hers or to share yours, but you've got a slot to testify. If you want to give us hers in writing, we'll have that as well.
Okay, then I'll just testify for myself and send hers as written testimony. Okay,
Very
thank
good.
you so much
Very
for
good.
clarifying that.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Dr. Helen Shi, and today I'm not only spoken on my behalf, but also another organization called United Chinese Americans, short name UCA, which is a national nonprofit civil rights organization for the well-being and interests of our community. We are urging you to vote against both bills, 174 and 711, both based on two principles. Number one, the bill discriminates against people according to their immutable national origin, as they have no choice where they can come from. So such a bill broadly lumps people together as the enemy or as the target to be attacked. And this is why many of us come here today, drop off work and drive and come to Austin to show you how serious this matter is. People are angry, our community is extremely disappointed and upset and feel hurtful, not only not recognize the contribution of Asian Americans, but also broadly put us under a serious danger, under a racism and legitimized xenophobia attack. Secondly, the implementation of both bills can be also problematic, not only putting people in AG and also public citizens to report them based on their origin can be also causing serious problem in terms of anti-Asian hate. And you have seen how many incidences been reported. So such a bill can really bring a danger. In our view, this bill does not add any additional benefit to national interest, but only broadly put our community under attack. This is why we're here to testify against that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony. You're next. Introduce yourself and give us your testimony. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman and committee members. I appreciate the opportunity to representing here. My name is Oliver Ben. I'm representing 28 years of Texas taxpayers. Straight flash, okay? No even 1 year exception. So I think enough has been said about the discriminatory portion of that. I think I'm trying to come in from another angle. Although I'm trained by scientists, as a scientist, right? Engineering and scientist, what else? But I'm trying to come in from different angles that I feel like this bill really get my tax dollars wasted because national security, everything else, I totally agree. But that's not our state's job, okay? That's the job that should be taken care of and has been and is taken care of by something called DOC, federal government, Department of Commerce, and they also have a large team of bureaucratic structures to managing the foreign trade. Okay. Secondly, there's another federal agency called FTA, the Federal Trade Commission, which scrutinizes everything that could pose national security, okay, to us. As a refugee of a messy state, it's called California, right? I've been living in Texas for so long because I'm trying to avoid this, a lot of government interference. I think this is a wrong direction. The SB147 and SB711 is just going, as part of our state legislatures, is going to a wrong direction, okay? Secondly, I want to say that, I'm sorry, the Senator Strohos is not here. We should really taking care of, devote your energy toward electricity, net. Look at the massive net or something, right? Started by fixing, look at the light, it's off, put it back, right? So something like that. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Welcome, introduce yourself, Alf, and give us your testimony.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and the Committee of State Affairs. My name is Dr. Xiaoyu Wu, and I'm here to oppose Senate Bill 147 and 711. I've been living in Austin for 10 years, and I found this bill really discriminatory. I fully understand the concern of national security, but I found this bill, even in its latest form, do little to address the concern. Instead, it targets individuals from certain racial groups. It is an endorsement of racial discrimination and will be used to legalize attacks against the Asian American community. This bill reminds me of my unpleasant experience in a cafe in UT. there is a waitress who refused to, it's a buffet style, I can eat as much as need, but there's a waitress who refused to give me one extra slice of roast beef. It's simply because I'm Asian. I look the other white students, they can get as many as they want, but me, no. The waitress just said, you already had it. Senate Court Holt and the co-authors of this bill remind me of that waitress. Texas people elect them as their representatives, just like the university hired the waitress to serve food. But they abuse this power to discriminate against the Asian community and don't even have guts to admit it. They came up with so-called important clarifications, saying, yes, now you can buy a house if it is for a homestead. It sounds to me just like you already have a slice of roast beef in your plate. Now walk away. It's not enough. It's still racial discrimination. No matter how many house or what type of house you allow me to have. Senate Bill 147 and 711 bring disgrace to this committee as it is filled with racism in the name of national security. I urge the committee to stop these bills. Don't let it legalize racism. Do not let it be the excuse for anyone to deny that all men are created equal in this country. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Welcome, introduce yourself and give us your testimony.
Hello, committee chairman and committee members. My name is Jin Chen. I've been called Texas home since 1999. I'm here as an individual to oppose SB 147 and SB 711. First, this bill is violating the Fair Housing Act. Fair Housing Act was signed 7 days after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. President Johnson viewed the act as a fitting memorial to the men's life work. It's so ironic, 55 years later, the day right before Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, on January 15th, SB 147 was introduced, discriminated people based on their national origin. If our committee let this bill pass, do we still honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life work? Second, the bill is no different from the Executive Order 1966. Over that order, over 120,000 Japanese Americans were sent to inhuman concentration camps simply because of their heritage. SB 147 is the same, based on the same original country. Our president offered a formal apology to Japanese Americans not long ago. Here, I'm asking our committee to be fair and justice today. Stop FB 147, not to do apology in the future. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for your testimony. Well, Martha Wong, I saw Representative Wong earlier. There she is. Take your time, Representative. Xiao Chen, Bin Yu, and Rhett Smith. So we're looking for Kong Shu. Beg your pardon? Thank you very much. We may have had you registered twice. Thank you very much. Representative Wong, welcome. Please introduce yourself and give us your testimony. It's good to see you.
Chairman, first of all, good afternoon to everyone. It's unusual for me to get up at 4:45 to get here. And I see that I got here so late that I'm registered to be the last speaker or the next to the last.
We wish you were the last. We've got quite a few, but go ahead.
You have some more. My name is Martha Wong. I'm from Houston, Texas. and I'm a former House member representing District 134. I was lucky to serve in the House of Representatives with Senator Hughes and with Senator Kolkhorst, so it's good to see both of you. I am here to testify against Senate Bill 134. I hate to do this because Senator Kolkhorst is a dear friend, but I do want to bring out some points that I think that we could hopefully compromise and make the bill better. I do believe that the part regarding the security of our land is very important, and that is the best part of the bill. What happens when we write a bill, and I know that, and the senator knows that too, is we intend to make Texas better. That's our goal as representatives and as senators. But what happens sometimes is that there are unintended consequences. The unintended consequences, I think, are what most people were speaking about today. The unintended consequences is causing many Asians to be discriminated against. It's not that the bill is discriminating, but it's that it's causing other people to be discriminating. I don't know how many of you know of which ethnicity I am. Maybe only because of my name. I could be Korean, I could be Vietnamese, I could be Chinese, I could be Filipino, and I'm just wondering how many of you know what I am, of what ethnicity I am. And that is the problem, that people cannot discriminate or cannot tell of which ethnicity you are. And so that is one of the problems when you are listing the nations that you want to eliminate, having those citizens purchase properties or in the state of Texas. What I think that we need to do is I want to tell you about my life, because I think in my life I personally have not been shown discrimination, but my family has. My father was an American citizen. He was a grocerman in Rouville, Mississippi. Senator Benton Court, it's good to see you, and thank you for coming down.
Always great to see you too, Martha.
And he was a grocerman in the 1930s in Mississippi. At that time, the Chinese were not considered white, so they were considered black. And because of that, the children had to go to the black schools. In the 1930s and early 1940s, the black schools in Mississippi were in deplorable condition. My father was smart enough to leave Mississippi and come to Texas. And he came because he had a daughter at that time whom he wanted to have a good education. As you know, Asians value education, one of the most important things beside valuing your family and your family name. So my sister was able to go to a white school. I was born in 1939, so Senator Hughes, I don't think you realize how old I am, because you were a young boy when we served together, and I'm an old lady now. But my parents, when my father moved to Houston, he thought that my sister would be able to go to a white school, which she was able to go to, but nobody would sell him a home or rent him an apartment. Therefore, and that was discrimination, okay, therefore, my father and our family had to live in the storeroom of our grocery store. I was born shortly after that, and for the first 6 years of my life, I lived in the storeroom of my father's grocery store. We had 2 beds there, one for my parents and one for my 2 sisters and me. We lived in that storeroom where we had boxes of groceries that were stacked to the ceiling because that's where we had to store the extra groceries that were coming in. Luckily, I was able to finish school in Houston, Texas. I graduated from the University of Texas. I have a master's and a doctor's degree from the University of Houston. And when I married, I was able to live with my in-laws for 5 years until my third child was born. Then we moved into Meyerland, which is a wonderful part of Houston. But I did not realize in the 1960s or 1959, one of my friend's parents tried to build a home in Meyerland. And one of the people across the street from the lot that he was going to build on, the persons had petitioned not to allow the Chinese man to build on that lot. He started a petition not to allow Chinese to build a house on a lot in Meyerland. Fast forward some 8 years later, I moved into Meyerland, and then, luckily, I was able to represent the Meyerland community at the Houston City Council. Now, also in the 1960s, the River Oaks area of Houston, Texas, which is one of the wealthy areas of Houston, Texas, and Paul knows that area well, they had in their deed restrictions that Jewish people could not buy in River Oaks. It only allowed white Caucasians, which also meant that Chinese could not buy in River Oaks. Fast forward, in 2003, I was able to represent the River Oaks area at the House of Representatives. So we have moved forward in the state of Texas. And I know that the intentions of Senator Colcourse and this committee is that we move forward. But what has happened is the unintentional consequences is going to cause us to have some backward movement. We do not want that backward movement where people, when they look at me, think that I'm a communist. That is what is happening. There are people, I live in the high rise in Houston, Texas. Across the street from me, across the freeway, is the Viatopia restaurant. The woman at the Viatopia restaurant, the owner, was told to go home. Go home. That was during the COVID period when people were being very discriminating against Asians because of the Wuhan Chinese concern about the virus. And I do not want that virus any more than anyone else does. So that's the unintended consequences, not that Senator Colcourse or anybody else wants to discriminate against Asian Americans. I know you guys too well to know that that's not your intent. But the unintended consequences is what everyone has been talking about. I would recommend that you look at your bill very closely, and I know that there is a bill in the House, House Bill 1075. House Bill 1075 by Harris. And it tries to do basically the same thing that Senate bill is trying to do, but the wording is different. And they're using wording that says foreign nations. In fact, I don't understand why Canada, England, or any other country needs to buy farmland in the United States, not just the enemy countries. And I would highly recommend that you look at the wording of the other bill, 1075, and see if you can do that to help people who unintentionally will be discriminated against. I have seen it in my lifetime, and many people here today have testified to that. The best thing that has happened because of this bill is that we had, how many people testified today? 139 is what I was told. About 129 of them were against the bill. It's the first time that I have ever seen so many Asians in the State House. That's the good part. Asians are being a part of the political process, which I have been trying to do for years. I have been doing that for years, and if you remember Steve Ministeri, when he was the chairman of the Texas Republican Party, he came to me and said, Martha, you need to start the Asian Americans Assembly to get Asian Americans involved in the political process. The chairman asked me to do that. I did that, and now we have chapters in Austin, in Dallas, in San Antonio, and in Houston. And so I started at the asking of Steve Ministeri to start the Texas Asian American Assembly, and I have done that. We are working very hard to involve the Asians in the political process. We are working very hard to get them to come into the Republican Party. Other people are saying the Republicans do not like the Chinese. Come to our party. That is happening. It is unfortunate, but they are using this bill to convince people that they are victims. And so I urge you to look at the wording very closely. I know you have a time to still work on the bill, and I urge you to do this. I am 100% for protecting our land here. I think that's very important. I know that. And I urge you to consider the language regarding the nations. Thank you so much, Senator, for your work. Thank you for waking up the Asian community, because you have done that, and that's very important. And thank you, Senator Hughes, for your service and your leadership. And to my dear friend, Senator Bittencourt, whom I greatly admire, and as those of you who don't live in Houston know that he is greatly admired in our area. So thank you for coming down to hear me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Representative Long, thank you. I think Senator Betancourt has a question for you.
Well,